Alright guys, today we're talking about bass clef. Why am I starting with bass clef? Why would I do that? Well, because I've had so many people come to me that have had lessons before and they say, well, I know the treble clef pretty good, but my bass clef stinks. I've seen it so many times. It's a very real stereotype of piano players at large. But so bass clef, we always have trouble with that. And if you wonder why it's always bass clef, it's because when we first, it always goes back to when we first started playing. All right, it always goes back to our childhood, right? When we first started playing, it's easy to fake the left hand. It's easy to see the patterns and with a little guesswork to get by with faking it and not really knowing the left hand notes, but knowing them just enough to get by. There's typically not as many left hand notes when you first start piano, so it's easy to fake it, and we get into a pattern of faking it. Okay, a pattern of guessing, and it gets us by for a while, right? We use our all cows eat grass and good boys do fine always. We try to get by with that, and it works for a while, and then it just does not work. So we're talking about bass clef today, and what we're doing, the 4 lessons that I've just added to my website, webpianoteacher.com. I'm going to show you what we did in those 4 lessons today, so you can have an idea. Those of you who can't afford a membership and are working on your own, we take away the treble clef because we don't want to confuse it with the bass clef. If you're playing treble clef, or have you ever been playing the bass clef and you kind of flip over to treble and you're not sure what just happened, but you're seeing it as a treble clef and you get those notes mixed up? That's a very real problem with people. And what we're going to do to remedy that is we take away the treble clef. We're just going to do bass clef. Okay? We'll come back to treble later, but we need to strengthen the thing that's weak, and it's our bass clef. And we're also going to do it by separating the line notes from the space notes, because for a couple of reasons. One is we don't want to try to memorize too much at one time. I think 6 things is enough. If we did the lines for the bass clef, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hopefully you know that's G, B, D, F, A, C without having to use a jingle or without a reference point. We don't want to use a reference point. We don't want to say, well, that's a G, so that must be a B. Well, that's a G, so that must be a D. You count up for each note. That's awful. We don't want to do that. We want to have a reflex action. B, F, D, A, C. Just an automatic thing. Not only with our seeing and understanding what the note is, but also with feeling and physically on the piano without having to look down every note. Okay? And that's what we do in those 4 lessons is we work on feeling from one note to the next. We work on something called substitution, where you play one note and you substitute another finger so you can get to the next one if it's far away. And some other little tricks and things that I show you. But we work on 2 lessons on the line notes on the bass clef, and then we're going to work on the next 2 lessons are the space notes. And we do kind of the same thing. The other reason we separate the lines from the spaces is because later on we're going to start to look at patterns in music. And left hand is full of chords and chord patterns, broken chords, block chords. And chords tend to be line, 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 or space, 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 space. They tend to have all the same characteristic, line or space. So I want you to start thinking about G, B, D, F, D, F, A, C. You see how we can find chords in those? We can also find chords in the space notes, F, A, C, E, A, C, E, G, and so forth. All right, and one more thing that I include in these 4 lessons, and by the way, I'm going to be adding lessons every day on this series, so you'll have plenty to do. I tell you exactly what to do, how much to practice, and how to practice it. You will learn to sight read if you do this. If you'll follow, give me 30 minutes a day. Give me 30 minutes a day, and you're going to learn this. I know it sounds like a big infomercial, but it's true. It's from experience, you know, being a teacher for 20 years. But I have backing tracks on there as well, which means when you're playing, when I have you sight reading some things, and the things that you'll be sight reading will not be songs, not stuff you can memorize. Why? We're going to take your ear out of the equation. If your ear's in there trying to help out, you're not going to learn to read music. You're going to memorize it, and that'll be it. It won't help any. So the things that we're doing are not things that are easily memorable. okay, so that you learn how to be a computer. Just spit out those notes. The ear will come in and help us later, but right now we need to have this be a reflex action from paper to eye to keyboard. Okay, the backing tracks that I include, let's say we were sight reading some notes on the lines, so I go 1, 2, ready, play. And as you're playing these notes, they'll fit. Any one of the notes will, because I'm kind of doing jazz chords. And I do the same thing for the space notes. As you're playing through these random notes that we have in our lessons, it kind of makes it less boring if you have something going along with it. So I play that during the lesson several times so that you can practice those. And so if you're doing this series and you're going to join the site for this, this is just the beginning. The 4 lessons, I'm going to have lots and lots and lots of stuff. And I love doing this. I wanted to do it a long time, but I didn't know there was a demand for it. So I'm going to be doing that every day, putting up more stuff to help you learn to be a sight reader. These 4 lessons will last you for quite a while, but I'm going to still be putting up new ones every day. So check out the website, webpianoteacher.com. I'll talk to you guys later.